Block Watch training program. My name is Trish Redzak-Showalter. I'm a proud resident of North Avenue. If you haven't already signed in for our safety alerts or received a quiz, please wave your hand and my colleague Obi will be happy to bring over a clipboard or quiz if you still need one. Looks like everyone's good, Obi. If you're not already aware, I did create a Facebook page for anyone on Facebook. It's Verona Neighborhood Block Watch. We're also collaborating with the Verona Community Group, so we'll be posting all of our events on their webpage as well, so you can find us there. So in rebuilding our Verona Block Watch program, I would be remiss to say that I did it alone. There are a lot of people here in this room that helped us, from snacks to delivering flyers to all of Verona. Thank you so much. I want to extend a special thank you to Mayor Dave for his support of the program, the cooperation of the Verona Police Department, as well as the support of the Verona Fire Hall.
Where I ended up becoming the acting chief after 4 years. And it was known as the Mayberry on the Lawn. It was Elizabeth. You got tired by putting your hand up and waving at everybody. It was beautiful. Very active community. Our population was close to 3,000 people. And people didn't take crap over there. There was no graffiti. Our crime rate was very low. But if you hunt for it, there's crime everywhere. And as I started the Crime Watch program, never heard of it before. I looked at it and I'm starting to read through these things. Never did a lot of the community outreach stuff at that point. And I said, I like this idea of the Crime Watch. It's the community helping the police. The police, you guys are our eyes and ears. It's something that's been that way forever and a day, for always. We only come upon crime once in a while when we're driving around. And it is, when we're out driving around, it's supposed to be a visible deterrent. But you guys got to call about it. You got to see it and hear it and call about it. You got to let us know. In other words, the old things about saying, see something, say something. I really like the idea of that, and I went into it a little bit further, and I found that Elizabeth was already doing this. And there are a ton of other towns that are doing this, and I started going around and asking people about how they did this. I went to Munhall. They had it broke down into different zones and districts, and they had it color coordinated, even with little things on their telephone poles, what's the purple zone, yellow zone, and so on. They started talking about captains. I'm like, what's a captain? Lieutenants and so on with phone trees. I'm like, what is all this stuff that you're talking about? They're like, that's Crime Watch. See it, hear it, report it. I said, I don't let somebody call their neighbor saying there's crime going on and not pick up the phone and call 911. I want them to call the police. They got to call the officers. I don't need them to call their family member and say, I think I see some drug activity. What's their family member going to do? I don't need them to call a council member. I don't need them to call the mayor. They're going to call the police. Let us come and handle that. And they said, well, that's where you've got to educate individuals who do these things. You've got to let people know that. My mayor at one time would get phone calls at his house about some crimes that are going on even before we got the calls. And I'm like, sir, they need to call us. It's really important that they call us while it's hot, where we can get there faster, instead of you calling us 10 to 15 minutes after the fact. You've got to educate more. How much education do people need when it comes down to see a crime, hear a crime, report a crime? What is a crime? It's anything that happens that you think is against the law that we can go up and investigate it. Because for what you think is against the law may not 100% be a violation of the crimes code. With that being said, if I took your town and I overlap it with several issues that go on in several other towns that are similar to Verona, you'll find out a lot of the instances that you guys would complain about are similar in nature with those instances in other places. With that being said, it's not going to be me talking all day. We're going to give you the opportunity to talk. I want to know where you're from, what part of town, and you tell me one thing in your area that brings you here and that you want to see stop, or something that we can do. Then what we'll do is we'll take all that information, we'll compile it, and we can give you financially we can say how we can fight us without it costing us bringing in the National Guard. In the reality of things, Some people are going to be like, there's drugs going on across the street from my house and something needs to be going on right now. There should be an arrest done right now. How long does a narcotics investigation take? On TV, it takes 24 hours. I'm sorry, 1 hour. On TV, they solve homicides in the first 1 hour. If you watch Blue Bloods, they got 4 or 5 things going on that they solve all of them by the time everything's done. Then they're having dinner, Sunday dinner, talking about everything. I wish in reality that was the way it was. But in my 26 years in law enforcement, it's not that way. Sometimes we can have it, but most of the time it's not. An investigation does take time. And that's what you need to give us. A lot of times people don't have that because there's frustration that builds in. The last thing we want to see is you give up. How do we know when people give up, when residents give up? When we see a for sale sign in somebody's front yard, for me that's the flag going up saying, I'm done, I'm out. When the population starts to dwindle. If I see that in towns, yes. I'm not going to name which they are because we're being video and audio taped. But I will tell you I saw this happen. And then I also saw the town that was on the brink come around, and now they're selling property in this town. A home just sold in this town for over $200,000. Which if you talk to the police chief and the council and everyone else there, completely amazed. It's not far across the river from you guys. I'm sorry, wait. Across the river, down the river from you guys. Whoops. Not far to say Sharpsburg. I'm sorry, what? It's beautiful to see what's happening. The revitalization. Homestead. Revitalization of Homestead. Revitalization of all our little towns around here are happening. Where people once said, yeah, that's rough town. You got to see what the people are doing. And it's you fighting back. Crime Watch is you taking one street back at a time, then a block, and you're helping us do it. You have people out there that care a lot. You care a lot. You have elected officials that care a lot, so much to the point where he walks up to me right before we start, and he's reading stuff about a scam that's going on that St. Joe's posted, about phone scams. What's the easiest way to stop a phone scammer?
Don't answer the phone.
Don't answer the phone or hang the phone up. End of story. There's your crime prevention in a nutshell. They get you on the phone, just hang up on them. If you want them to hang up on you, answer the phone, and once you're like, whoops, IRS, can I help you? You tell them you're the IRS. Watch how fast they hang up on you. So let's talk about where you're from. Let's talk about some of the complaints you have. On the normal, what will happen is that you're going to see some overlapping. You're going to hear people in here say about speed. You're going to hear people in here say about stop signs. You're going to hear people say in here about dog defecation. Why? Because it's a traumatic experience or something that you feel that needs to be addressed. Is it right for us to listen about it? Yes. But there are some other things out there too. That maybe will open up some of the eyes of some individuals. In the long, we want to pack this place up. And we have. This is not the first time that Verona has done this. It's not. And it doesn't need to start because of incidents taking place. Crime Watch, Neighborhood Watch, whatever you want to call it. This is all of us just teaming up together to make sure our town stays nice and continues to be nice. And if crime does come here, it's going to make it hard for them to establish their business here. That's the whole thing about Crime Watch. See it, hear it, report it. Don't take action on it. Let us do that. We're not instilling a state of vigilantism into anybody. We need your help to see it, hear it, report it. It's that simple. That's the fundamentals, and that's the guidelines of all of Crime Watch. So many people were out there. As a police officer, was for as many years as the chief and myself have been, I will tell you now, when we're done playing Joe Friday, for the young kids that have no idea who that is, it's a person that played on TV, they come in for a crime and ask for just the facts. For those of you who know who Joe Friday is, who that man was, then you understand what I'm talking about. After we're done getting all that information, I'm going to ask you, who's the neppiest neighbor on your street? In my case, growing up, it was my grandma. My grandmother had a set of binoculars in her bedroom window. My grandmother knew everybody in the neighborhood, but growing up there, and she built that house there and owned a couple of the other row homes. We lived in a small coal mine area, and she knew everybody. If a guy was walking by at 3 o'clock in the morning, she's yelling out, "Johnny, I know your mom. What are you doing out at 3 in the morning?" She wasn't afraid either to yell out. I'm like, "Graham, what are you doing?" This guy's going to come up, and he goes, "Let him come up. I'll get your grandfather." You guys know who those NEMI neighbors are. Those are the people who need to be here too. If you're that NEMI neighbor, you're going to love this program. You also have a responsibility to tell the people who live next to you, across the street from you, and so on, so we get all of Verona involved here. We want Verona to be that place where you're always watching, you're always staying vigilant. You always want to see what's going on. Again, why? If criminal activity tries to take foot here and it can't grab a hold because you're always calling about it, they can't establish their business here. They got to move on to where somebody's not watching. You guys all have heard that, I'm sure of it. People have seen activity and they go like this. I didn't see anything, I don't know anything. It makes it frustrating for us. You get a crime or a criminal activity takes place, you go there, you have people that are sitting on their porches after the fact and the incident's there. How many people look out? Seriously, out of their windows when you see red and blues or reds in front of your house? How many do it? All of us do. Why? Because we're NEMI neighbors. Or in my definition, it's going to be the practicing of NEMI neighborism. And each and every one of you are going to be that way in Verona. We have to be. The park. We established some groundwork back in the day when we had VCAG. VCAG was an acronym that our former group used to call. It used to call the Verona Community Action Group. Everybody's involved. Verona at large. Verona. We are Verona. Every single one of you. The mayor comes here, yeah, you guys know he's the mayor, but he's coming to you as a resident also. Because crime can happen to him just like it can happen to you. So with that being said, would you guys mind saying where you're from? What part of Verona?
Union Street.
On Union Street.
Yep.
What's your last names?
Stavrakis.
Say that one more time.
Stavrakis.
Stavrakis.
Yep.
Is that Greek?
Yep.
Yasufre?
Bravo!
Bravo.
What's this, cara? Sí,
Migalogolo?
bravo. I'll give you some more later.
Yeah, no. Migalogolo means I got a big bump. But anyway. What in a bad word, anyway.
Don't say way over yet.
We want an audio video. So, Yasu?
Yes.
So, on Union Street, my friend, if you guys were to say one thing, one chief complaint about what goes on in Union Street, tell us what that be.
Kids running up and down the street, kicking balls and bouncing them off people's houses and cars all day long.
And giving cheek to the homeowners, they're renters' kids, and they're giving cheek to the homeowners that are trying to stop them. It's a safety issue that's been going on for years, and these kids just keep doing it. They're not afraid of anybody, police or otherwise.
I love your accent. That is obviously not Greek accent, though.
No, it's not. No, it's Australian.
Dude, Mikey.
Absolutely.
Way to go, Sheila. I love it, eh? Blue. I go, this is me. I like do this. It's all, you guys need somebody to do voiceovers. Have her do. Because at first I didn't know what kids running up and down the street getting cheeky. And cheeky and naughty. I'm looking at you like, okay, cheeky. And then my mind's going, what does cheeky mean? What is going on here? Okay. That's the first time when I hosted international law enforcement officers and they stayed at my place. We're out having a great time, no pun intended, but nevertheless, when a guy goes, Jason, where's the loo? I stared at him. Do any of you know what a loo is? Do you know what a loo is? Sir, tell me what a loo is. A what? You knew more than I did, because I had no idea what the loo was. And then he's standing there and started doing a dance in front of me, then I realized what the loo was. Kids, juvenile issues have always been an issue with every single town that we go. A lot of times the kids do what they do because of one thing. It's called boredom. Kicking the ball around, doing things. A lot of times there's just the boredom issue in it itself. Leads them into doing things they shouldn't be doing. We're all kids, and you guys all know what I'm talking about. You give us 5 seconds, you know, you knew you shouldn't have done that, and then you're like afterwards, It happens. The problem is that in today's world, a lot of times it seems like there's a little word that's been missing for a little while. It's called respect.
Yes, absolutely.
Thus the words that she used, getting cheeky with people. Talking back when you go to say something, when you go to correct them, when you say, hey, it's not your property, it's not nice. Why would you go and kick a ball at your car? Would you like if somebody did that? If somebody bounced the ball off of your house, would you like that somebody do that to your house? and they turn around and say, mind your business, or be quiet.
Oh, they say a lot worse.
I'm sure they do. A lot of them are probably four letters.
Very colourful language. And they're very small.
Yes. It's amazing how well they know how to sentence structuring it all with using the verbiage.
It's very sad.
With that being said, the only thing we can do is ask them to please be respectful and mindful. It's going to be tough trying to kill it with kindness when you're ready to go over and say, tell your parents to come up so I can kick a ball at them. Really. But that's not what you want to do. You know, just tell them it's not nice what you're doing. Please don't. And if you have to, it's the last thing we want to do is involve law enforcement. Because we're going to come up and we're going to say, you know, again, the same thing we're going to do. Hey, do you want us to have them kick the ball at your parents' car? If you get a chance to talk to the parents, don't drag the parents in and don't scream at them. But that would, the first complaint would be a juvenile issue. Are they doing this during the regular hours or doing this after hours?
They want to.
Because on this same subject, a lot of times we hear.
There's no parental guidance either outside. Nobody's watching them. These kids have been so close to being hit by cars.
On this same type of topic, we have issues with kids staying out. I've had people ask about curfew. I had one town that pushed the curfew so much that they wanted to enforce an ordinance. So we take a child into custody, we take them to that station. We can't let that child sit there by themselves. We can't put them in lockup. We got to notify their parents right away. If we don't find their parents, or if a parent is out in the cocktail, is the parent of right mind for us to release the child to? And if the parent made their way to the station and they've been in a libation, with that being said, are they drunk or intoxicated? Now they drove here. It just keeps going bigger and bigger. If it's a female juvenile, I can't sit with two males there. I'm going to have a female officer or an ambulance attendant or somebody come down that's a female also. The juvenile issue when it comes down to like curfew and so on, it's growing and growing and growing. Again, one word that's really coming all into play. Respect. It's a shame, but it's a fact. I remember when my parents' street lights came on. Where did you guys have to be? I'm sorry, what was that? Home. You remember ever talking back to your grandma or your mom? Yeah. Me too. My grandmother was like this big. She dyed her hair brilliant red, looked like a fire truck. Then she'd have it permed. Then after she permed it, she teased it out. So she looked a little bit like the heat miser. She'd been, I'm Mrs. Green Christmas, I'm Mrs. Hunt. She'd come in, I'm not lying. And then it would be like the shoe. Wouldn't be her hand. She said, I'm not hurting my hand. The shoe on the butt. You know, and you never talk back to Grandma. Not even my grandfather. My grandfather, you'd just go to my grandpa like, Jace. You're right, Graham. You're right. Even though she was wrong, she was right. Juvenile issue. It's that. It's something that we have to give them some more activity to do. Something that they can have, that they can do. Somebody goes, what do you have that can make the juveniles do? We don't have youth centers anymore. It's tough because we can't get them in. Some of our small towns used to have youth centers they can go and they can release some of the activity. We can go and play basketball and kickball. They can go and learn some computer classes and so on. We've tried those things. And then they work for a good period of time and then they get bored of that. Boredom leads into destruction of living things. They can walk down and spray paint something. Why they do it? I don't know. Ask them after the fact. We sit down. What is your juvenile violations like down here in the borough, Chief?
Pretty much, like she said, in any other communities, is to have no respect for anything.
That's right.
And
Like you said,
have a lot of communities who have something. It's just pretty much running rampant in the streets. They get up in the park. They have no respect for us in the park. They try to put things out for them in the park. That's right.
And the park closes at dusk, correct?
Yes.
And I hate to say this, guys, and for those of you who live around the park, when they're at the park, I know where they're at. When I worked in a small town, it was good to know where they all were. When you didn't know where they were, that's where, when you would work by yourself in a small town, that's when you started going, oh, what's going on? We got the elementary center at one time to open up and they cordoned off. They had just a basketball the gym opened up, which was a little bit bigger than this, and then I had the kids come into the gym. I had 2 parents that would come over and volunteer their time. I had the store across the street sell the iced tea and water and stuff, a little bit of a discounted rate so I can get the kids, at least I can funnel them in to have play in the gym. Everything worked out well until they started littering. Until then, I had a couple kids show up on school property smoking cigarettes. And then they were leaving it around, the kids were finding things there, then it became an issue. Especially when the first cigarette butt was put out and they found it inside the school. And we lost all the things we worked for. But we tried solving the problem that we had, and we ended up creating another one. But we can find a close meaning to this, even if it's inviting your parents to come up and listen. Just listen. Not yell at them, just listen. Where do you live?
3rd Avenue.
What's your name?
3rd Street. I'm Rhoda Ward. I have a question for you. I think that the problem is for Verona, is we have an abundance of rental properties. Those, if anything, are more of a problem than not. What we need is stricter code enforcement. I used to be on council. We need stricter code enforcement, not just 1 day a week, every day of the week. 5 days a week we need a code enforcement. Forget part-time. You have to have a full-time group of individuals that know the rules and regs. Number 2, my question is, there are drug problems in every municipality. Why cannot all the municipalities call it consolidation? I don't care how you want to label it. Why can't the different police, Penn Hills, Oakmont, Verona, Plum, get together and work together towards some of these drug problems that we have in our municipality? Because I'm not always seeing, like, you'll report something and they'll say, well, we're aware of it. Yeah, I know you're aware of it, but what are we doing? I could be aware of a million things. You have to have a plan of attack. You have to have some kind of, agenda.
Love your spunkiness. Don't ever lose it. Answering her questions. All the police departments do work together under DANET and also under the AG's office. We already have a consortium of law enforcement that does this. We have an entire task force that does this. The task force may or may not even notify the local law enforcement that we're watching the house. Sometimes we don't notify. We don't even tell them when we come in they hit the house. The drug issue, that's just it. It's not an issue, it's an epidemic, and it's everywhere. I don't care the size of the town. We've all been affected by it. We took a vital stance in trying to help solve some of the issues. It's rough when it's already on the street so much, but like we started Project Dump, where we're coming to people's homes. The sheriff's office, we're actually taking, it's called dispose of your unused medications properly. If you guys don't have an operation, you have some old meds laying around, what are you doing with them? You can't flush them. We're sending one of our evidence techs to your house. We're the only law enforcement office, or only law enforcement agency in the nation coming to your house. Now, I don't know about in Verona Borough if they set up one of the boxes down at the station for you to come down and dump.
They actually bring it to me personally.
It's a lot of work. If nobody's ever heard about this, I can tell you our evidence tech. Last year alone, we got rid of, in 1 quarter, 5,000 pounds of narcotic pills. How much does a pill weigh? We incinerated 5,000 pounds in 1 quarter. Folks, we just did over in Gormont a collection, and in 1 day we got close to 100 pounds. 1 day. These are folks bringing it to us, where we just set up a place. It's amazing. Second, code enforcement. Issue everywhere. Absolutely issue everywhere. Sometimes it can help if you do have a full-time code enforcement officer. It can. It also helps if you have people that are vested in their property. Plus then it comes back to the rentership. One town in particular was at this number, which is mind-blowing. 70-30. 70% renter, 30% ownership. And they were exactly as fired up as she was when I came in to talk about Crime Watch. How are we going to get everything rolling the right way, Jason, when we have 70% of the people that really don't care, because if anything goes on too much, they're just going to say, see ya, and move off to somewhere else. There's no roots I'm looking at a lot of people that have roots here. The renters need to have roots because this is where they're at. But the landlords have to be. How do we get to that? We established an ordinance many years ago, and it worked over in Pitcairn, and where we stole it from was from Aliquippa. The ordinance was, and I brought it here several years ago, was the absentee landlord, the nuisance home ordinance. If the police department is called to the house 3 times, and there's an incident that has the trace 3 times of that. If I cite for disorderly conduct, if I cite for something else, and I cite for something, on the 3rd time that they are cited, you can hit, under the ordinance violation, the landlord. You can have a floating scale fine up to $1,000. We recommended in Pitcairn, hit them for $1,000 every time. Landlords, any inside this room? You have yourself a place. I go there 3 times. On the 3rd time I go to there, and I cited this person for disorderly conduct, I arrested him for public intox, we hit him for a noise violation, because they're just nothing but they're pain in my duper. They really are. So on the 3rd time I hit them, you get a registered letter from the borough citing you as being as a nuisance landlord. So then you're like, what the heck is this? Under borough code, blah, 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 ordinance violation, this. You get hit for $1,000, sir. And you can only be renting this 1/2 out for $750 a month. Wait 1 second. You only may be renting this out for $750 a month. I hit you right where it hurts in your pocket. That tenant may not be a tenant there much longer.
Yeah, but
Because I hit you where it hurts.
And we've had one instance, in probably about 30 years, where we had a tenant where there was multiple calls by the police department. And we got a letter, and the borough wanted them out. And we just told the tenant, sorry.
But you're here. You're not an absent landlord.
Yeah.
You are here.
Right.
You have landlords that don't even live in Pennsylvania, folks.
Yeah.
I've got towns, larger towns, smaller towns, that I have some landlords that are coming in and buying properties. They're a part of a conglomerate of a whole group. You go to track them down and you're finding out they live in Florida, they live outside, they live anywhere other than the Commonwealth. And they hire a group that's to manage their properties. It's rough on us too. Take our word for it. It's super tough. Yes?
While we're on this subject, and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but in Verona, what's the ordinance? So say they would sell their duplex or their single-family home that was converted into 3 apartments. Because as soon as that sale happens and it changes ownership, that can no longer be 3 apartments, correct? It has to go back to the original single-family home.
Well, sometimes they say it's grandfathered in.
Yeah,
That's
but
what we're
grandfathered
tripping up.
in with whoever owned the property before, not the new owner.
Well, they trip up, yeah.
I don't know
Is
the
that-
ordinance. That's something, hey folks, with the ordinances, Mayor, any other council folks that may be here, you don't have, are the ordinances allowed to be online, that people can see them? So if you research that ordinance yourself and you found that, and then perhaps, this is brought about, I know what you're saying because like even in the city, that was something they got with some of the homes over in Point Breeze. Those big giant Victorian homes, there was 4 apartments, sometimes 5 apartments inside these places. Well, when new ownership bought them, the city turned around and said, new ownership, 1 single family home. You have to establish, make this a new rental space if you choose to do so. And then they got to bring in the building inspector and everything and start the whole process over again.
Yeah.
But if you've seen what's going on, the revitalization of just like even that area, they're knocking walls down and they're turning these Victorians back into 1 single family home.
Which,
It
the
is.
problem that creates is parking issues. And it's just getting out of control.
That's where we have to.
And it's pushing good people out of here.
Parking on the street?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you
Oh,
don't,
yeah.
don't come on North Avenue.
No, the parking, we're gonna come around to you. Parking on the street's always an issue. I have 3 cars, my sheriff's unit and my 2 personal vehicles. I get home a lot of times and I deliberately park in front of my house. There's no parking on the one side of my street, but in our borough, you're not allowed to park on the street from 3 o'clock in the morning until 6 a.m. So 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. at all. And they go around and they hammer. Unless you call the dispatch and ask for parking permission. As soon as you, I'm not joking, you ask for parking permission, which is granted. So if my son has his girlfriend in for the weekend, I ask for a 3-day parking. They ask for the plate, model, make of the car, color of the car, and it goes out. And when they do roll call, that's issued out that it's been granted for 3 days. However, if my neighbor's like, oh look, Jason left the car out on the street, they park behind me, they get a ticket.
Where's that?
Whitehall Borough. Parking's an issue everywhere. I grew up in Cannonsburg. We used to put up that street and sidewalk technically is like borough property, but you're responsible for the sidewalk itself too. See that? You're not allowed to move this. You better not touch it. I've seen, I'm a little dude walking on the street. I hear a person across the street screaming at another person down the road, "You move my chair! You move my chair!" I've gotten to the point where I've watched people go out with spray paint and they put a dot and a dot. Don't park between the two dots. I said, laughing, it's true. And you guys know it's true because some of you probably thought about putting out lawn furniture on the street as well.
They ticketed it.
I would not really take it that, I gotta be honest with you, it's like littering, and you're leaving furniture out on the street, it's littering. Is it garbage or not?
It's very frustrating when you own your property and you have, this single family home that's converted and these people are renting and now they've got 8 cars in front of one house.
Maybe something that could be done is that when they have a unit that's like this, that permits have to be issued out, which it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for the elected officials to do this and for us to enforce it. He's the only one working tonight. For him to go around and do this all night long, 911 calls start rolling in, forget it. And I worked in a position just like this. It's rough. Then you get questioned, why didn't you do the meters? Why is there 52 miles on a car when we only have 30 some miles in road? And every question came around to us about why didn't you go out and do the meters? Why didn't you go out and tell us about this stuff? Why didn't you do parked cars? Why didn't you do ordinance violations? Why didn't you do the junk cars? Because there's only 8 hours, 10 hours, 24 hours in a day, and I'm one person working. We're all short-handed in law enforcement. If you guys haven't noticed, it's rough. Across the nation, 65% down. Phoenix, Arizona is hiring 1,000 officers. I just got back from training out in Denver area. Aurora, Colorado is hiring 60 this year and 70 next year. Now, can you imagine a department that's hiring 1,000 police officers? I got towns in this, right here in Allegheny County, that are hurt, really hurt. And it's going to come all up sooner or later that we're going to have to make an aggressive move, somehow, way, shape, and form. Some way, shape, and form. The parking is an issue everywhere, especially when you have a lot of on-street parking. And if you own a 6-unit apartment complex, and I did nothing to accommodate my tenants for parking, it's going to cause a problem on the roads. Because I'm going to have people parking in front of your house, and in front of your house, and in front of your house.
Always in front of our house.
The only way, there's no other way of saying it, and I mean, I don't know how to say that you're allowed to put a property line thing here and a property line thing here, then on the curb, we spray paint with stencil your address and give you 2 spaces in front of your own home. We can't technically do that because the road is free to the...
I almost did it.
Do you know, we can't do that.
I just did
And it's
it
getting to the point where the chair and so on. But see, this is some of the stuff that needs to be talked about. This is some of the stuff that you may be able to go down to council and ask to get onto the roster and talk about
Yes,
that.
for 3 years, Sylvia knows about lines, because it's not even that there's too many cars sometimes, it's that people don't know how to park. Oh my God!
We'll take up 2 places and they're the visitors of the renters.
But the problem is everybody works at different hours.
Right.
So when somebody comes home, they park where they normally do, and it just...
Who else is having problems with parking? Yes or no? So it's a bit of an issue. It's a bit of an issue.
Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but a couple years ago, we went down to council with that issue, and I think the borough solicitor said that if you're a homeowner, you are, on paper anyway, entitled to a space and a half in front of your own property, or something like that. And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's.
I don't know how that's, you guys, that, I don't know anything about it. You'd have to research the minutes of whenever that was stated. I can't say yes, I can't say no. Moving on though, and I'm not saying that we're shutting this away, we're not pushing it away. Code enforcement, parking, juveniles, the deadbeat landlords.
Oh, yeah.
Come around.
Oh, I was gonna say there's like this.
I'm going to every single person in this room. That's what this is about.
Oh, something.
First time you've ever come to a crime watch, if it's the first time anybody, this is what you do. And what happens is, this is your opportunity to say, finally, I want to talk. I want to hear somebody hear my voice. And it's not finally, we've been hearing your voice. He's heard these problems, and so has he. Before he started working here, his hair was really, really dark. Well, I'll be right over. Young lady.
I'm on Third. It's relatively very safe neighborhood. Once in a while, you'll see it's a one-way street. You see somebody go the wrong way. Sometimes people speed down the other way, avoid the stop signs. What are you going to do?
So speeding and a stop sign, basic traffic violations. Hey, you know the last time I was here, I don't know if you can recall this or not, I had actually somebody complain right around the lunchtime area about the kids that would be left out on St. Joe's, that they were playing in the parking lot of St. Joe's being too loud. That was true. And I'm like, I said, well, I'll talk to the principal about that. Never did. But you guys see, there's legit people, and for that person, that was a legitimate crisis at the time. It was right around Judge Walker time or something, I don't know. Young lady?
They've asked in the back if they can speak up.
Yeah, I'll yell. Hers was, that's what I repeated, hers was traffic violations. Speeding, wrong way on a one-way street, she lives on 3rd, and stop sign violations, which are primaries. Hers was the code enforcement, landlords that led into parking. Theirs is parking, juveniles being delinquent to a certain extent with her verbiage, and not respectful. And I like how she said delinquent. Yes?
Hi, thank you so much for coming.
Sure.
I'm here because I care about this town and everybody in this room, number one. Number two, I'm part of the North Avenue family gang here.
So where do you live?
I'm on North Avenue.
North Avenue.
Up on North. And we had a shooting. And we're very concerned about it. And a lot of it's an isolated area. We don't care if it's isolated. It happened. And we don't want it to happen again.
North Avenue, she's part of the North Avenue family. They had a shooting. One too many. In my book, absolutely. How can we deter it? I don't know. I don't. It happens everywhere. Everywhere. People said it doesn't happen in places like Upper St. Clair. It did, and it has. People said it doesn't happen in places like Mount Lebanon. It has. People say it doesn't happen in other places. It does. We can't predict it. We can't. What element brings that into the community? Drugs do a lot of times, but in this case, in a lot of cases, you don't know. What about a domestic incident? I grew up in Canonsburg. One officer was killed, the other officer was shot. Jimmy Saeed and I played football together in high school. That incident was a domestic, where he murdered his wife and then he waited for the police officers to arrive. And we're seeing that. If he does, he'll tell you, I get articles like this every single day. Every day. Of where they're doing this and then they're waiting for us to arrive. And we're trying to teach some ideas on how to do that differently. But how am I supposed to park 2 blocks down the road, come up and not approach the house when I got to find out if you're okay or not? They're going to know when we knock on the door. We teach how to knock on the door. Firearms issues, that's a whole other topic that I don't want to get into. I'm just going to say I'm a 4th generation hunter. Never had a problem in my house.
all owned our own streets. We took care of them. The town was impeccable. We didn't even have a street sweeper. They came with a broom and a dustpan.
He was the street sweeper, that's what it was. Times were a little tough financially. He was known as the street sweeper back then. That was Joey Bag of Donuts.
No, I'm saying these are the people that own their homes and they care about it. And they
You're 100% correct. She's also saying about the deadbeat landlords. Folks, in boroughs and in townships and in cities across Allegheny County, this has always been one of our topics of discussion. Always. That, juveniles, always. I'm telling you guys, I can take the same stuff that we talked about back in 2006, and we're getting a lot of same stuff. I can take you right now to several of the towns, and I teach this in. Same stuff. It's rough, but it's the same stuff. So you guys know that you're not the only ones, and that there are things that we're trying. But we need, for yours, we need parents to be parents.
That's pretty hard.
For one of yours, we need the landlords to step up and take a vital ownership into the property because we live here. When we start Crime Watch, are they going to be here helping out with the Crime Watch? The answer is no. They're not. All they are there is every month they're wanting this. And it makes it rough. Parking, that's going to have to be neighbors working with neighbors. Putting lines and stuff on the street and putting that, then there's going to end up being serious war on the roads because of parking. And it's coming down. It sounds like it's getting to the point where it's becoming an issue. That maybe, just maybe, that it has to be, Mayor, I don't know, something needs to be maybe addressed verbally in some type of a news publication about parking has become an issue throughout the borough here. We'd like to have some townsfolk come down and we've got to talk and discuss about living together in harmony.
And I think we need to
You
stop.
can't have a 4-unit apartment with 10 cars.
Or issuing
I
permits
think
or
we need
something.
to, once that new sale happens, it
Well, I'm
needs to
gonna look
be,
into that.
yeah, that's
That happened today.
And commercial vehicles parked on the
oh
street.
yeah, there was a
Yeah.
sale, on our street today.
Commercial vehicles parked on the street. I think they could easily make it.
Some boroughs,
Today?
there's a lot of ordinances that can be set forth, but you need the person that's going to have to help out. Chief, this may help you get another full-time guy, in turn with a full-time ordinance officer who's a policeman that goes out and works daylight, or you bring him in, I don't know, sir. But Mayor, this costs money. I hate to say it, it does. They give him 3 or 4 new police officers, one be designated as code enforcement, and it works hand in hand like a split shift daylight to be out there for things. It's rough to say, yeah, we're going to do it, when you're working on a shoestring budget.
We're hiring 2 full-timers.
God bless you. That's something that should be bragged about. It really should be, because that's it after it happens even, and so on. And it's rough though, and I'm with you guys on these towns. You guys, every one of you are a lot. It's rough financially everywhere, and it continues to get that way to maintain. It really does. Parking, the commercial vehicles parked on the street. Some towns have an ordinance about that.
Personally, I don't have an issue with parking because I have the driveway.
We do have, there is an ordinance.
It's rough, folks, the parking issue. I'm telling you, in some of the towns, you go into some of the parts south side of the city of Pittsburgh. Come with me over there and talk to the owners of homes about Friday night and Saturday night. Talk to them about parking. Talk to them about after the hours of operation, about the things that are left behind on their properties, about what some of their video surveillance equipment has picked up with people coming onto their porch and leaving presents for them for tomorrow morning. We'll talk about lack of respect. It's not kicking the ball. It's leaving stuff behind. And then he's going to want to go out.
I've had somebody peeing in my front car that I've had on my front veranda.
I wish you had some way to talk to him and just say, it was in a mail.
Well, I think it was. I
I wish you would have said something. You're not so impressive. Continue on.
They don't care.
You little wanker.
They don't care, and the parents don't care, and that's where they get their language from and their disrespect. Because because the parents don't change.
You're
the
dealing with what
business.
we deal with as law enforcement, but you're also dealing with what the teachers are dealing with. You're also dealing with what other people deal with all the time. I'm serious.
Yeah.
It's a global issue. Hello. You two are together, so whoever wishes to be.
Hi, I'm Trish, this is my husband Dan. We are with our neighbor Sylvia on shooting incident in June on North, and perhaps what's frustrating is this is not a regular situation, so it really feels us feeling out of control situation. There's a lot of young families, a lot of children.
There's also one other thing. Shortly after the incident of the shooting, the gentleman's vehicle that got shot hasn't had a driver's side window. It got shattered, don't know, he puts plastic on, that's his window. Every time he gets into his car, he's a violation. Like, the guy shouldn't make it around the corner. He's a known drug dealer with a car that's in violation, and it's the vehicle he uses to go sell his drugs. He shouldn't be able to make it past the stop sign.
I'm not aware of the individual here being not from the town.
I understand.
I'm not aware of the investigation if it's ongoing. If you ever heard, though, I will give you this, maybe for a peace of mind. You ever hear the old saying, if you give a person a little bit of rope, you give them a little bit of rope, a little bit more rope, what they end up doing with themselves. So with the PC for the stop of the car, which is probable cause for an accident, meaning that the actual window is out, that he's doing everything he can do to try to make it look like the window's not out, cellophane and so on, even though it's a violation of the vehicle code as well as black trash bag.
Black trash bag.
I can call that window tint. Anyway, so that's just me articulating something. With it, there may be some rope being let out. I'm hoping that's a fact. Let me tell you a success story in regards to something like this. It never led up to gunfire. We had an incident here, and she remembers about a certain street that was renamed in the borough of Verona back when I started this, and this was the big reason why we were packed every single time we did a crime watch, to the point where we had to set up multiple more tables in here, even considerations tonight. We're talking hundreds of people, not hundreds, over 100 people. We had, and we're lucky enough, one night, one of our programs, the drug dealer came to a crime watch meeting and sat him back. When I brought my drug identification recognition kits in, and I passed it around to everybody. That drug dealer, as we started staring at him, we told him everything that was going to happen. We told him, anytime you see a car pull up in front of these homes, you call. Anytime you see things going on, see if you can get a license plate. Don't walk right out. My goodness, guys, I had an 87-year-old lady, not in this town, but she walked right out. The drug dealers, the way they did it, they pulled up on her street, they opened up the hood of their car. They looked like they're working on their car on her street. They were selling the dope right out from underneath inside the car. They'd be out there for an hour, 2 hours. Sometimes the officers would ride by. You'd see them wave. The officers wave by. There's nothing going on. The guy, one officer even stopped and said, everything all right? Yeah. Happens all the time, man. I just got to take care of some stuff and be on our way, officer. 80-year-old lady called in. She got ticked off. She walks outside with a pen, a tablet, and a flashlight. She walks up to him. She goes, I'm sick and tired of what you guys are doing here. He goes, what are you doing? He goes, taking your license plate, punk. I know what you're doing. When we went and talked to her and we said, why? She goes, I'm 80. What's he going to do? He's going to brag about he did something to an 80-year-old? He's going to brag about this? She goes, at least I know that I got satisfaction because he's no longer selling it in front of my house. I don't want you doing that. But I do want you, if you see them out there doing something, grab a plate. Grab a description of the car. Grab a description of the person driving. You get enough information, you send that to us. What we'll do is we can run a plate, give you some idea of an investigation. We can run plates. If that plate comes back to anybody, it's got a hit from former drug charges or anything else, and we get 3 or 4 or 2 or whatever people, they keep going to that house and we see it have prior drug convictions, we're not stupid. A 5-minute interval of people going in and out of that house, you guys understand? You're not either, not to insult anybody here. But we got to develop that PC for us to let it go further. This guy already has developed enough and maybe the investigation's ongoing. I'm just gonna let it at that.
Yeah.
Please understand, it does take time. And maybe what we're doing is we're going for the felony, I'm sorry, for the federal charges. We want to see it come in and then we're gonna pounce. It may also be selling to larger police officers. I pray, I don't know. You got questions? What street, first of all, who are you? Tell me what street.
Obi Morford, Third Avenue.
3rd Avenue, Obi.
Not a question of statement. You know, you said about, Dave, you've said it at many council meetings, that you have the money to hire a couple officers, you're just having a hard time because people aren't stepping up to the plate. They don't really want jobs where the rate of being filled is very high. But, you know, that's why it's so important that we really reactivate this neighborhood block watch, because you will be those missing officers from the standpoint that you are their eyes, you're their ears, and you are their reporting mechanism. So if you see something or you hear something, you report it. And then that makes their job so much more efficient. They can come right there. They don't have to ride around the streets looking for what you're seeing. So, you know, be window watchers. Look out that window. If you think somebody's out there and they're suspicious activities, don't peek out the window. Go get lined up and look out the window. When drug activity is going on, it goes on streets where there's no activity, where the yards are overgrown, and they say, oh, look at this, nobody cares on this street. Let's just open up shop here. If they see that the yards are taken care of, and there's no litter on the street, then they say, oh, I don't want to go there, because that street's too clean. All those people care about what's going on. They're going to be watching out for each other and for suspicious activity. So, you know, really get into this to help the police. That's what we're here for. See it, hear it, report it.
Sir?
I don't mean to step out of line or anything, but my sitter's leaving soon, and I wanted to just quickly, if I could just...
I understand, that's why I was looking at my watch, and we didn't want to keep you guys long.
No, is it okay, guys, if I go real quick?
Yeah.
All right, my name's Ed Jablonski, this is my wife Denise. I was born and raised in this town, moved away from college, moved away for a few years, came back, bought a house here. I live on Ridge Avenue, myself, my wife, my neighbor on the street, Susan. Anywho, my own complaint, or not complaint, two concerns I have. One, living on a one-way street, the amount of traffic that we have on our street, I shouldn't say one-way, it's a no-outlet street. The amount of traffic we have on our street and the different various types of cars that come up, you get to know whose cars are whose after a while. There's something going on in our street towards the end of it. There has to be, because there's no reason why random cars would come up like they do as often as they do. Do the math. Two, Ridge Avenue is going to have a serious accident sooner than later. When you come off of First onto Ridge, I've been trying to tell, I pulled Chief over there a few times and it was a council thing. There's no stop sign when you come up Ridge. So people fly up there. And when people make a left off of First onto Ridge, someone's going to get T-boned. Someone's going to get injured very seriously. So my two concerns are this. One, something's going on, activity by drugs. Two, there has to be some looking to a stop sign at First and Ridge, just because someone's going to get T-boned. And that's pretty much it.
Your stop sign issue was an issue we had over in Elizabeth, and we had an ordinance with the same type of problem. Somebody then came back and said, you just put up a stop sign where there's never been one for 35 years, people are going to blow by it. So when the ordinance got passed about the stop sign, we ended up getting a red beacon on top of the stop sign. That way, during the daylight, you can't miss this red STOP, even though some people be educated on what that word means. Doesn't mean slow down and continue, it doesn't mean just roll through. But at night with the red beacon, we loved it so much in one of our communities, at a lot of our major intersections, where we actually did we did a traffic study, we put the red beacons on every one of those. And what it did for us, you just said, let's go proactive instead of reactive. There's going to be, you said, thank God there hasn't been yet. So with this being said, we already had crashes at some of these intersections. We slowed, if not lowered our crash rate by statistics, 50% by putting a red beacon. In other words, a red flashing light simply placed on top of the truck. Now, a couple of them came up missing, I'm sure they're in people's basements. Woohoo, I got the red one, look at that. We put another one up. It helped. 50% of the traffic crashes in those intersections went down. And in your case, that may be something that needs to be looked at immediately. I don't know the area. The end of your street issue. The end of your street issue.
Yeah.
Sit outside on your sidewalk, watch what's going by, drinking some iced tea or whatever else. You enjoy where college you go to?
Clarion.
Clarion, love the place. You ever roll the barrel? Anyway, Autumn Festival in Clarion. Yeah.
But my other point is, I sit on my porch, I see it happen. I see cars. I work outside my yard constantly. I see it. My wife sees it. You know, my wife actually had the, I guess, the intestinal guts to ask for the street signs, it's 15 miles an hour, to be moved to another stop sign, another telephone pole, so that you can see, because our street's like a racetrack. There's little kids at the end of it. I know everyone has these problems speeding, but it's a narrow street, and there's a lot of little kids on it, and no one stops at the stop signs.
A lot of kids. Another sign that could go up is kids at play sign.
That's up.
You
And
know?
that's for children.
I've had people even put in speed bumps. In some towns, they're illegal to put them on the roadway like that. In some boroughs, automatically just did it. And then what happens is if a person comes down the road, unfortunately, one of the ones who are going fast, that we sort of kind of wish it would happen anyway, and damage is result of the speed bump to their vehicle, the borough's liable. Especially for the illegal. I know it's garbage, man, but listen, that's the way it is. They hammer these towns, and these people are coming back. I bought my car out on that speed bump. How did you bought it out? How fast were you going? Then their attorney will come back. It doesn't matter at that point. Yeah, it does. 15. The speed bumps are there because the kid's playing on the street. You're flying safe. The judge turns around and says it's illegal. Speed bump. Fines him.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening.
Hey, sorry that it's going on so long. Come back to the next one. Draw more down here. Seriously. And then maybe the next, if you guys are able to get plates, descriptions of vehicles, and so on, if you put that information down, that's something we can turn into the police. If he has Daynet working in the area here,
Reiterate my
if he has Daynet working here though, Daynet can take the information. Tell your sitter I'm sorry.
That's my mom.
Oh. Stop and get some ice cream for it then, okay? Take some more plates. What do we have right here?
Hi, Brandy's gonna try, I live on North, I'm trying to spot.
Okay.
And actually, solve one of my questions, because I see a lot of service, and I see a lot of swatting. I would table, so when I come home, I see them out there regularly.
Have you called?
No, because I spoke to her about it, and then I went down to watch after work, and I haven't seen them really going on the bridge. Because I get home at 9:30, and I just sit and get on the watch. You know, I mean, I can draw you a picture. And it was regular, constant, for a whole month. And now they're not there.
You think the two gentlemen are from? Here's the other thing, guys. You notice when we start making a lot of drug arrests, how many people were actually from Verona that were arrested?
Very few from there.
When it comes down to a lot of criminal activity, and this is true, I don't know about the statistics here because I haven't gone over with the chief at all, but a lot of times in the criminal statistics, for a lot of people who actually place into custody and put them in the Allegheny County Jail, over 90% of the people from towns are not even from that town. It's a criminal element that comes into the town and starts with criminal activity.
They're organized, they have a spot, they own the bar. And the people I work with, unfortunately, when you wait tables, a lot of people come up and they say, well, of course, you're in Verona, of course. Those are the bars everywhere. That's bad, though.
I don't want that stigma.
I mean, I don't want it.
He doesn't want it. Do any of you guys want that, what she just said? When somebody says, it's drug activity, and they ask, where are you from? And they said, well, I'm from Verona. And they said, oh, well, it is Verona. In other words, a lot of people say, oh, that's where all the drugs come from, is Verona. That's basically what somebody's saying. That's not true.
Well, wait a minute. Our post office goes into Penn Hills, so what do they call it up there?
But they can't say it's all coming from Penn Hills either. They can't say it's all coming from Brentwood. They can't say it's all coming from Verona. They can't say it's all coming from the city. They can't say it's all coming from... It's coming from everywhere. We're all flagged. It's no longer a problem. It's an absolute epidemic. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's fast money.
I know, but
And it's terrible.
If the cameras up there,
We're getting... Everyone is. We were talking prior to coming in how much Narcan's being used, how many kids are falling out. What we're seeing here, We are in a crisis. It's absolutely. Did you guys just see about the orange bracelet thing going on? Are you able to shut that off for a minute?
About lighting. The streets are very dark and there are burnout lighting. Mayor has pushed and actually they're going to install new lighting,
100 lights.
LED lighting.
Your LED lighting.
There's actually the UK Light is doing an upfit and an upgrade with a grant that's available to upgrade to LED lighting across their coverage zone. They're putting them on buildings and so on. It's a little bit of a cost up front, but on the long end for repairs, replacement, and so on, and also the looms. And considering what the one light puts off that we have, I will say now, compared to what an LED light puts out looms-wise, it's totally night and day. Those of you who have changed your regular light bulb to an LED bulb, you know what I'm talking about. It is night and day. Taking away the darkened areas where criminal activity can do. It's ninjatics, their ninja stuff. That's what we got to do. Light it up. When we have problems in the park, the recommendation here was to put a motion light inside the gazebo or over by the park. The people we had positioned around the park over here, by the school and so on, the idea there was then when the kids are going over there or somebody's going over to the park to do whatever, that they come in, they go into the gazebo or something, the motion light comes on. See it, hear it, report it. They said they're going to break the light out. No. We told them about a piece of polycarbonate plastic. You can put it right over top of the light. They could throw rocks up it, shoot BB guns at it. Polycarbonate plastic's a step down from whole group glass. Folks, the light switch goes on, stays on. Lights go out, light comes on, somebody is there. Something, rabbit, deer, whatever, something's there. It's going to force you to become habit-forming looking out the window. Okay?
I'm on North Ave as well. My name is Jen Marasco. We're here mainly when the shooting was very scary and eye-opening. But we've seen a lot of litter, and it seems trivial, but it makes our town look super trashy.
Right.
And
Litter.
it's just, yes. And the main area we see is right where Gecko is, like up southern, near where the veteran.
The War Memorial
thing is.
Stairs.
What?
The War Memorial Stairs.
Yeah, and like.
How much stuff do you think is actually tagged by
They're keeping
Gecko?
a photo album now. and-
How much stuff, what I'm getting to, is that there may be a feedback that some people may be able to do. If you look at a lot of the trash, and if a lot of the trash comes back being purchased from Gecko,
90%.
do you know what I'm trying to say? That there may be something that a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar agency may be able to come into small town USA
Especially
and
when it's
help,
just built
possibly
commercial
by
here.
buying Gecko. Get in, get out, clean it up, something, keep Verona clean and beautiful, sponsored by Gecko, putting trash cans out, and then maybe sending somebody over to clean it up so it doesn't take a hit to the borough. These are us working together. When we started this before, we invited the business district up there. When the business district shuts down and they go home, if it's not Verona, they're going somewhere else. Who's watching the businesses? You are. We are. Something happens, you're the ones calling about it. We're the ones responding. So we asked the business district to take a vested interest in the town as well. We had a few business owners that came up here and said thank you. They posted some signs. I don't know where it went from there, because I let you guys then go. I step up, I come in, I do what I need to do to come in, then I step back and I let you guys just run this. This is yours. This is your town. This is your organization. It is all about you. Everything. Seeing these little things, him coming here and taking notes and listening about it. It's also ear and eye opening to all of us. Some of you may not know about some of this stuff. And some of you are going, holy crap. The kids can get involved also. On a Sunday or Saturday, going out and helping the police up the town, or helping the town clean up itself by doing a little garbage cleanup.
We do. We have the litter getters of Verona.
The litter getters of Verona do it 4 times a year.
Facebook group.
It's rough though, because a lot of times you end up with the same backbone, same 10 people that show up every time.
October 19th, there's a cleanup. They need more help. So if you want to join the group or come out, that'd be really great. Kathy and them would really appreciate that.
We need to give credit to the church on First Street, because they are constantly cleaning that whole area on High Street. So we need to give them, I mean, it's not that, they need to be given the credit. I don't think anyone is thankful, I really don't.
I'm
The
gonna
borough
talk-
should be sending a thank you.
I'm gonna take 3 or 4 minutes, because I probably should go do a lap around the neighborhoods and make sure they, okay. I'm Chief McLemore, for those that don't know, I've been here a little over 9 years now, I've been in law enforcement 40 years, been with 4 different communities, and like you said, these kind of issues come up everywhere, even in other states where I've worked. Not trying to blow anything off, I understand what you're saying, and I agree that we need to work on all these issues. Sometimes I get phone calls the next day. Chief, last night I heard this noise out by my house. Last night I saw somebody walking down the street who doesn't go in my neighborhood. And did you call last night? Oh no, I just thought I'd tell you. That doesn't help us. Call, when you see something, hear something, call us. Don't be shy. We might not be able to get there right away, but we'll come and at least make a lap down the road or around the neighborhood and attempt to at least let that person, whoever it is, see that there's officers out there moving around, okay? So don't be shy to call us ever. This 603 phone number that's up on the board, that number is mostly a day light number. After 5 o'clock or so, that's our office number. We have a cell phone in the squad car that goes to after 5 o'clock. But the officers can't carry that cell phone with them every minute of their shift and know that that's what they want us to do. But if I get out on the domestic, I want that cell phone ringing and expecting me to answer a cell phone when I'm trying to handle the domestic. So don't rely on that. If you can't get anybody, don't be shy to call 911. All right? 911 is there for us to use any kind of issue, anything. So don't be shy. Please don't wait till the next day to tell me something that happened tonight. All
I
right?
can tell Chief, down at the borough building, they have a box where there is a 911 button you can press and ask the
Right on the front wall, there's a silver box that says, "Police assistance." So if you get to the PD after hours, the front door is blocked. Push that button. It goes straight to the dispatcher. Tell the dispatcher I need an officer to come to the borough building and speak with me, or I need an officer for whatever issue. No dispatchers to the borough building, and we can answer or help you out with whatever you need. So just basically that kind of thing. If you see something, give us a call. Let us know. We'll take any kind of a suggestion or a hint from you guys. I know I will. So if you just got a suggestion or a hint, you can call me the next day. But I mean, if it's something you see or hear during the night, don't wait till the next day. Hey, Chief, I heard somebody or saw somebody in my neighborhood.
Chief, I have a question. I know Verona, I mean, it seems...
I hope you like my answer. Go.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It seems from our end of things down here like, it's kind of a small, but Verona's a big borough. I mean, it goes all the way, Verona Road, all the way down.
Yeah, that's not us.
How many officers do we actually have?
We have 7 right now, 3 full-time.
Okay.
But all that Verona Road's not ours at all. That's Penn Hill.
That's Penn Hill?
Yeah. That's what she was talking about earlier. Our zip code goes, our zip code is huge. Borough's fairly small. We said 2nd Street, this is 4th Street.
Oh, really? That's the
I live in Whitehall Borough. My zip is 15236. It doesn't say Whitehall, it says Pittsburgh. People actually think I still live in Pittsburgh. Postal zones are huge.
Yeah.
Shaler's postal zone is humongous. You may already be in Hampton and you think you're still living in Shaler. There's a lot of people that have the misconception of that. They really do.
I don't want to confuse it. We go up farther than 2nd Street, but as far as Verona Road, Wildwood Road, 2nd Street, we go up to 4th. That's just
So it's not as big as I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
we go out to the shopping center, and we go out to the little overpass between us and Oakland. That's pretty much
What's
it.
the square mileage, would you say?
half a mile by half a mile.
So the borough's 1/2 mile by 1/2 mile.
Well, that's it. All right.
A lot of people don't realize
Our
that.
zip code's
Do you wish to say something before she?
And every time you hear it, yeah, and like she said, we always get stuff on the news that happened in Verona. Most of that did not happen in Verona. Verona zip code. Are you waving at me or this gentleman here?
No, I want to say something.
Go right ahead.
My name's Bruce Morgan, and we live on my Athletic Street, and I go to the hospital house. We household. We have seen a police presence in the last 2 years. We have never seen before since I've been here. And we did call. like was breaking into the house. We reported it. They asked for a description, they went and got them. Brought him to the front of my house and said, these are the best problems on okay? We reported another thing in our neighborhood. There was a house dealing drugs, 3 young people dealing drugs. They told them about it. Said, we're keeping an eye on it. Both of those young people were dead in our area. And if you want to catch people running these stop signs, stand there to my street on the athletic and watch the teachers and parents that are running that stop sign down the Verona Elementary. If you want to see that. It's terrible. It is terrible. My neighbor says was just spray painted with a filthy name, on his fence that he had a go and fix. My car has not been washed. And this is at late at night. These people are on the road at night.
Juvenile thing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go make some laps. It's nice seeing everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Those of you guys that are in the town, you heard on the officers, they're doing the best job, and I think quite honestly do a great job. Things happen. I apologize to see what happened there in 2 different ways. The spray paint on the sign in the back, is there any motion lights in the back on the property that borders the road lights? But you got to make it even more so they can't be in any darkening. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. It is a juvenile issue also. Boredom, the verbiage. Once in a while, it happens to be a neighbor conflict with another neighbor. I'm sorry, but that graffiti does happen. Shouldn't.
You know what we need is cameras all over town.
There's a time
We
that
could do CCTV. They do that in England. They have CCTV.
We're trying to,
we're going to lose some folks already here. I'm sorry, sir. I know that people are going to have to take off. So let's go, if we can move quickly, because you're losing me too. My day started at 7. So this is on my time for you guys here right now. No.
Half a day, 7
I
to
think
7.
that man wants
7 to
to say
7.
something on that.
Sir, I'm sorry.
No, I do want to say something. So, I worked for the state for 35 years, law enforcement, and I've been to hundreds of public meetings, and I had one inspector per town. People always said, why don't you do things? Why can't you get things done? And I said, because I have one person per town. And I told those people, same what you have here, what you tell these folks, you are the eyes and the ears out there. You are also the enforcement. Everything that you say comes back to us, and we can enforce that. Many, many times that's worked over and over again because you've helped the police officers 100 times over than just one person doing this. I appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you.
Guys, it's rough. The 7 guys, 3 full-time, 4 part-time, and you expect action to be done immediately. Sometimes the action can be done based upon the totality of the circumstances of the crime itself. A lot of times it's rough. Follow-ups, investigations. If they don't have the manpower, they can contact the county, and the Allegheny County Police can come in, and so on. There's resources available, but even then, there's a lot of people that are bogged down too. Mayor?
Real quick, I live on Upper Parker, and it's a very quiet street. Every now and again, get a speeder or kids walking down the street. But 2 years ago, on 4th of July, the chief calls me and says some cars got broken into, about 8 of them, and busted the windows and so on and so forth. And I said, were the cars locked? And he says, no, they were all open. So that's a no-no right there, as we all know. And I told him, I said, why don't people lock their cars? I can't believe sometimes what people do. So about 11 o'clock, I forgot to get something. I was having company over. I got onto my Jeep. I opened the door, and I said, son of a gun. My glove box was open, my center console was open, my wallet was gone, I had $45 in there. And I was more bummed about the $45 than me leaving my car open. And so I called the chief. I said, remember what I said this morning about why people don't lock their cars? He goes, yeah. I said, might want to come up and take a report because I must have forgot to lock my car. So he come up and fortunately he says, I'm going to take a walk down the road, see if I can find your wallet. And a neighbor 2 doors down, he's seen the chief walking down, and I didn't know him, he's a new guy, the neighbor, he had my wallet. All the cards were in there, but the $45 was gone. But once again, you know, I do live on a quiet street, there's a lot of quiet streets in the town. Yes, we do have our problems, and the key there is we all got to be vigilant and lock our car doors because that's an open gift for anybody, you know, it's an invite, you know.
This was a huge segment that they did in Mount Lebanon. We all grew up at a different time. When I grew up, where were the car keys found?
Yeah.
In the car. Actually, I didn't have cars, it was horse and buggy when I grew up. But anyway, the car keys were left inside the car. The front doors were wide open. We didn't have whole house air conditioning. You opened up the windows and the doors and just had a screen. Look at that great deterrent. Somebody could went right through the screen. The times were different to a certain extent, but the people were truly different. Today, again, going back to the word respect, there's not a lot. As this moves on, and after tonight's first day, we go over it, new people come in, we ask where they live and so on. You guys are going to get training just like everyone else. You're going to be told, lock your vehicles up. God bless you. You're going to be told to lock your house up, give your house a lived-in look. Like if you're all here, there's nobody at home right now, there's things you can do to give that house the impression that somebody's there right now. These are little things that we're going to give you to grow with, to help it make it harder for crime to occur in this community. You guys have to be your own people. You have to be your own. Inside the book, this would be probably some of the best reading material you've ever read in your entire life. If anything, it may make great toiletry information. But I know it's going to be the best you ever read, because I wrote it. And in there, they actually have a home security checklist. Talking about, is your house burglar-proof? Guys, Fort Knox, they think it is. Somebody can break into Fort Knox. Let's be quite honest. But you got to make it tough. By locking your cars, that makes it tough. So they come over, they jiggle the car, and it's locked. They're going to move on to the next one. So, Mayor, I'm sorry that happened to you, but it does. In my neighborhood, it happened. They didn't get to my house, though. I think the mark the sheriff shooting in my driveway was invisible enough to turn for that.
And it was, real quick, and it was very hot and humid that day, and I had the air on, and my watchdog, she was sleeping. Because usually when the windows are open, she barks, and I get up and look, and it's usually a deer she'll see outside.
Best home security system, sir.
Why am I here? I'm also a North Avenue person. It's,
the question, sorry, we're together. I was going to phrase, I think our concerns are the same, but I'm going to phrase my questions differently. What can we do to help deter littering? Because there's a lot of littering. And what can we do to help deter, like we know where the drug issues are on our street, which is where the shootings happen, for example, and certain businesses, as one of the neighbors had mentioned. What can we do to help, deter, make them uncomfortable in a way that is safe for us?
Continuously write down the information without going right out and going up to the license plate and going. I don't want you doing that. If you see the plate, you see the car, you see the operator, try to just write that stuff down. Recording it is phenomenal. Taking a photograph, but don't turn your flash on. We used to have people that would set up, no joke, they would set up a tripod with a camera on it. And people would see the red, some of the drug dealers would see the red light on when it was on the record. Put a piece of electrical tape over it, worked wonders. We made a lot of arrests with that. Then we let into the cameras that the DA's office has that you may be able to get through Stephen Zappala. That may be able to be put up in positions where we then can trace and track what's going on in your street. Littering. I don't know what the ordinance is here, but what about thinking about a trash can? Even with a trash can with something that you write on it, or have the kids do a really cool little something that's like on the trash can itself. This is my neighborhood. This is where I live and play. So don't litter today, or just a neat little something on there. Don't be a litter bug or something. And you put it on the trash can. If you give them a place to throw it, unfortunately, then you're responsible for having it dumped out, but it's still something. That's what I'm trying to say about Getco and the garbage. That's happened with McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's in in cities and towns where the garbage, you go wherever they were, you go in a 1 to 2 block radius where they're located, and look at the amount of garbage that comes from that facility.
I'm gonna contact them, get them.
And tell them exactly
And we'll
what you
pick the
heard.
garbage up,
You
yeah.
tell them you had 100 and some people come up to a neighborhood concern meeting.
What about a garbage can on every block?
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
like,
that would
since
be
we're a walking community,
Yep.
then what if you open it up to the borough, didn't have to pay for it, have,
Keep going.
you know,
Yes.
people like me donate
Yes.
and
Yeah.
sponsor a trash can for
Businesses.
our block?
Yes.
Get the business
We've done this
sponsor.
with the trash cans in towns, with benches in towns and so on.
Yeah.
You get people who are real estate agents, as much as it sounds crazy, they want their face on that trash can.
And I think maybe Declan would be the first person I'd have donated down by the memorial.
I'd have them donate more than just one.
Especially since they just made that commercial here about beautifying the town.
And on High Street too, we need a trash can there up on High Street, just not that little, maybe a girl, they put one right there, that's trash.
No there yet.
Yeah.
And I'm mostly Italian, too, so it's
Have
just
them
keep them
donate.
on.
Get those nice stone ones.
Yeah, then it was.
You guys can discuss all that later, let's move on with some folks. Yeah.
One more question. So we have a 2-year-old who acts like a person with PTSD every time someone sets off fireworks. It drives him up to knock into the walls. Like, and they'll stop, like say they set him off at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. We'll call the police and maybe it'll stop, maybe it won't. But my kid will be waking up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., still remembering the fireworks, and that's what he's screaming about.
Yeah, we
What's the ordinance about fireworks?
Apparently, the Commonwealth fireworks are legal as long as they're not set off within proximity.
150.
Yeah. And believe me, brother, when it comes down to that feet from a house,
Well, everything's 150.
it is, thus it's a violation of the ordinance. However, yeah, I've never sent them off last Saturday over by my house. They set them off, it's legal now. Oh, let's go get them. Woo! I'm like looking on the calendar, what are you celebrating? It could be a 2-year-old's birthday, they're putting up fireworks. It could be your 50th, they're putting up fireworks, which I hope they can. Anyway. There's a time for everything. There's a time that the kids are not supposed to be on the roadway. We used to always say that when the fire whistle went off, that was supposed to be the ordinance. When the fire whistle went off, that was back in, no, wait. That used to be. It really didn't mean anything. It was just a fire whistle check. That was all. That was all it really was, but everybody thought that that was the ordinance. You have something to say before you guys leave?
We're North Avenue residents also.
Okay.
So everything pretty much,
It's very safe.
yeah.
Folks,
That's another on High Street, except 2-year-old who want to be.
you guys will be great neighbors. This is a super community. Guys, is it a great community or not?
Yes.
When we host a meeting like this, at any time, this is an opportunity that a lot of times the platform has never really been set. And every time I go to any of these places, I always call it like where they're throwing a match on the fire that they've been waiting to do for a while. So I've known Verona for a while. I've been with the county for over 20 years. It's a great town. Everything that's being said, as I reiterate and state again, has been said in other towns also. It's a great little town. Jen, every town you polish up a little bit more, yeah. But who does that work? You guys. We're coming in a lot of times after the fact. But like him going out and taking rounds and stuff like that, one car leaves from up by St. Joe's. One car is over there by the high-rise right now. One car is down by the rowing club right now. One car is over by the business district. None, because there's only one car up by St. Joe's. That's what makes it tough. You know, when I was chief, you got people screaming about speeding. I'm like, what time can you give me some specifics? Yeah, actually this time I'm like, yeah, that's normally when we're walking a beat or we're doing something else, we're on another call, or if the car's at the station and we're handling and typing up an incident or I have an arrest. It's rough. But it's a great town to know that we have people that are coming out to help support it. Thank you very much. You guys probably have a beautiful child. So do you. Mr. Landlord, sir.
We're the Mills Brothers. We take care of our elderly parents, and we live over on Center Avenue. We have a couple buildings. You know, we're landlords. We're active landlords. You know, we really keep up with our units, and we're deeply concerned about our town and everything that goes on. And there are some areas of concern that we have, and that's why my brother and I are here tonight. We're mainly concerned about theft and vandalism. Us personally, you know, my tenant was hit the other day with a porch fire. He had a DJ equipment that was delivered in front of his porch, gone. We had a lawnmower stolen a couple of weeks ago. We did recover the lawnmower ourselves. We know who the perpetrator was. It's an ongoing issue.
What's your last name?
Jamelis.
Jamelis. What
We're related.
nationality is that?
Great.
Oh, goodness. I was getting ready to say you guys are going to be like, oh.
Hey, we know the perpetrator is. Yeah, we don't forget about it. We know who it is. But,
We make
look, I mean, we're concerned about the, you know, we're concerned about the theft and overall security. I mean, we've heard people had break-ins before, you know, mainly in the lower boulevard, but I think it's coming up the hill now, and I think
It's good, it's everywhere. Can I help just a little bit with the break? Crime prevention is my forte. I was the first law enforcement agency in this entire region to have the ring. And I did a test study and a full paper, in other words, an evaluation, a test and evaluation on the ring. You guys know what I'm talking about when I say the ring. It is a doorbell that affixes to the front of your door where your other doorbell is already located. That doorbell is equipped with a camera system, to which if you're sitting on the beach at Myrtle Beach, and somebody comes up to your house, rings, there's also a motion sensor on it, that it'll actually go off that you can speak to them and through it. Today, there are millions of them that are sold. The one that I had here and I evaluated, I gave it to a pre-K over in Rankin. That all she had between her and opening was a solid metal door like that. There was no eye hole to look through people, nothing. They bring a doorbell and she had to get toe-to-toe with people who were bringing deliveries, bringing the kids that are late, and so on. She had no idea it was there. So we didn't call them up. Now she has the ring. And I'm proud to say I gave it to her because in a few instances where we had dad showing up and there's a custody issue or a PFA showing up, they would have opened the door to this person. For you as a landlord, and I've recommended this in a lot of them, perhaps in your units, and it's a little bit of a cost.
We're looking at
lighting, one, the LEDs. Two, for you guys to even go to the places like it, I'm not saying to do it. To go to Home Depot for $800, you're getting 5 cameras or 4 cameras. You're getting a 19-inch flat screen in the DVR. You could be burning this all the time. Or you go to Comcast and you have everything wired directly, and you guys get the bill. You put the cameras on the exterior and the front porches, and then when you go to rent, you're utilizing that in your package when it comes down to renting. And in the overhead, you're going to end up getting it back when it comes down to the back end of this.
But I think
then you get to brag about it that we have a secure site. Then you get to brag to your neighbors. Then you brag to us in law enforcement because when something goes down on the street, that we're looking for some plates and some IDs and stuff, then I can come to you guys. We have solved crimes on South Side thanks to the company uses his name, Coppolas. He put in 16 cameras right on Carson Street. And he's so active down there because he's so sick and tired of the stigma saying people don't want to go to Southside anymore because of what's going on. When things are being said that's going on. With that being said, he put all these cameras up. We've solved crimes because of these cameras. And then he saw this other people will go out here and put cameras up. They got their cameras inside their business and they got their cameras out facing on the street. Must be allergic. Because every time I got close, you sneeze. With that, it helps. Think about the camera systems, guys. I really don't. I know it's a financial burden up front, but in the long run, just like the LED lights, it's going to pay off.
I think we're at a point right now where
porch pirates everywhere, even with cameras. They're that brazen, man. They're following around the UPS trucks. UPS trucks, FedEx trucks, they're following around. It's up to us. My goodness, there's a guy who's a millionaire overnight. He developed that box. It has a small explosive device inside it. I'm serious. They go to pick it up, and it goes, doesn't hurt the people. When they go to pick it up, the charge goes off, goes boom, and it blows. It scares them. And it also, that loud noise causes attention. I hate to say it, but it does. Causes attention. They have another one that has a shriek alarm inside. That it sets off a loud shrieking noise. The people run away, people start looking out, hopefully get a license plate, a description of the porch fire. There are people making a living at doing this. A lot of times, it's a junkie that's looking for a place, some way to get money, something to get, that they can turn around and flip it. What's the closest pawn shop to here? If you guys had a pawn shop open up right on your main street in your business district right now, no lie. If one opened up, watch how many porch fires start to increase here.
Well, listen, if you guys have an image in 4K, if something go on, boom, got it.
Yes. We try, and then we try to use facial recognition to see who the individual is.
It's just the financial end of it, you know, the hurt that it puts on our tenants, our neighbors. You know, it's not just us that have been hit. I'm sure some of my neighbors have been hit too. You know, just packages being stolen.
The lawnmower needed to be secured.
The lawnmower did need to be secured, and we did not secure it.
And in regards to the delivery, perhaps there's another way of delivering the delivery system and where they need to go with it. We've offered in some towns what we call safe delivery and pickup. Where if you have a FedEx, UPS package and so on, perhaps having the drop-off being down at the PD. If we had the space, we can open that up to a safe drop, safe delivery area. It's camera monitored, it's done at the police station. And what it does, it gives the people who are not going to be in town or you're going to be away, you know your package is going down there. Unfortunately, stuff still gets stolen.
And we live in an area, our street is very busy. It's probably one of the busiest streets in the borough, Center Avenue. And there's cars going up and down there all the time, and they might see an Amazon truck that just rolls up, or UPS truck, and they drop off a package, and some guy goes.
Very unfortunate. But this is a fast way of doing it. And the commercials aren't helping. Even the ring commercials themselves are planting a seed in people's minds on how to make you do this stuff. I'm not joking. You have a lot of copycats that see this stuff, and immediately they're setting the script out for these people to go and play it out.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
It's unfortunate.
You're with them, you reiterate the same stuff. Young lady? Union Street, everything all together. Young lady? Union Street, ditto. Sir?
I'm on First Street.
First Street.
Some of my concerns are a couple of nuisance establishments down, closer in town. No one's mentioned, just a week or two before the shooting on North, there was a shooting down there, same time of night, around 2 a.m. One of the places, these places seem to be repeat offenders, like dive bars, shit spills out onto the street sometimes, and sorry.
No, so PG-13.
That's big, that's big.
So we're just a G.
But, and the towns get busier and busier, there are events down there more often, day and night, there's like a once a month, movie night, where people, it goes till 10, 11, guys come out, you don't know whether they want to, whether they're laughing or they want to start killing each other. They tear off in their, whenever they're driving down the street with the kids around. It just seems to be, a lot of problems concentrated in this country.
I will tell you some of the good stuff, though, that I've heard looking in from the outside on how much Verona's changed to the good. There used to be the Oakmont Verona border, right or wrong. I've heard, I've actually heard differently. I really have. That there's a lot, you guys are getting an influx of younger people moving in too. That's great to hear. This is bragging stuff. The little things, what's that?
It's unbelievable.
Thank you. This is what I want. This is things that we need. People need to hear that stuff. Right now, a lot of people moving into the borough hear this stuff and they're like, oh gosh. The investment coming into this town is a great one. This river town is a beautiful town. Always has been. It always will be. It's just going to reinvent itself. Do we have to listen to what's going on? Yeah, because this is the voice of concerns. Are there nuisance bars? Everywhere. What do? If the bar there's incidents that are revolving around the bar, and this is the heartbeat of crap that keeps going, is utilizing your statements. And then what happens is that the investigation starts going on about, there's a gunshot related to this bar here. There's another incident, drug-related incidents related to this bar here. Then the nuisance bar task force starts to do investigations. Underage drinkers going in, people coming out of there, DUIs being made because they're serving after-hours serving, so on and so on. Then we hit them with a nuisance bar violation. Then we hit them again. Then when you know, before you know it, we're shutting them down. They're screaming to open up their business because that's their family business. And most people, I've had family in the business like that. As long as the dead presidents are coming through the door, I don't care who you're serving. As long as it's paying my bills and putting money in my pocket.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've lived here for 12 years now, and without mentioning Lonnie's by name, the minute we moved into Verona, Blondie's where everyone gets their drugs. And I don't know if it's the bathroom at Blondie's. I mean, I've never set foot in Blondie's. I don't know if it's a dive bar, if it's a nice place that people are frequenting or what, but that's...
Where is this? So as soon as I go down to the stoplight, it's the place on the right side.
Right across the street from the get-go.
Across the street from Gecko.
Yeah.
Where are the owners from?
Well, Rebecca lived in Oakland. And
What about the owners now? Where are the owners from now? Does anybody know who the owners are?
I believe it was Verona.
Who wanted it? Somebody, they sold it.
I don't know where this would be a violation of them or not. Maybe inviting them in for a meeting. I'm just saying, I don't know. The reason why I do this is just ideas. Maybe inviting them in for a meeting. We're adults. You have to be able to take some creative criticism. Inviting them in for a meeting and listening to what we are hearing. And just, at one time, there used to be called a knock and talk when I worked with the HEs. If you're selling drugs, David, right? If you're selling drugs, David, and I got enough BS that I heard about this stuff and I just get fired up, I come up the door, you answer the door, hey, Deputy Tariff, Allegheny County Sheriff's Office. I will let you know that we've had several reports of individuals coming and going from your house with 5-minute intervals. I'm not saying anything's going on here, either that you're very, very popular, which is a good-looking young man you may be. With that being said, though, we are going to keep an eye out, and we want to let you know that we're going to be in this neighborhood keeping an eye on things. To see some of your friends that are coming and going and so on, because some of the citizens of the borough, not just your street, are concerned about what's going on in your town. Just to let you know, we're going to keep an eye out. And if we do find out that anything illegal is going on from here, we'll be talking once again, David. Again, my name is Jason Terrence, Sheriff's Office. Have a great day. That was a knock and talk. And we did it. Maybe we can invite them in and talk to them like adults. They're making money with an establishment in our town.
The incident that happened at the bar with the shooting in the parking lot, they had great cameras at the bar, and we got this. I don't know if you do that. I did not. Yeah.
Where's the follow-up with that? Like, you're telling us now, but I don't think anyone knew. First off, that might have happened, and secondly,
We used to have a paper, a town paper called the Advance Leader a long time ago. And there used to be a blotter, a police blotter in that. I don't know if we have anything anymore. Nothing online.
I don't believe in problems, I believe in solutions. If you guys haven't tried to like really get, I guess I'm more of an optimist instead of a pessimist. If somebody's really computer savvy, we tried this when we were before, that we would love to see, if people want to do it, the Verona digital paper. The actual print paper is too expensive. The digital paper, everything that's going on in Verona, obviously not negative. You don't want this to go south where it's a bashing site. You don't need that crowd. I don't want that crowd. But something that's just nothing more than Verona's community paper.
We do have
talking about great things, letting people know about the police blotter, letting people that have even in their how to report suspicious activities without your information being put out there, and so on. We developed that when we were here last time, even down at the police station, how to report a crime without giving your information. You can remain anonymous. We had the little, I brought the cards in, and you guys put I put those tip sheets and you guys ran with them. And I brought those in years ago. But we can put them electronic. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I think anybody who knows any computers, you fill something out and you hit send, can I trace it back through the threads to you? Yeah. I can trace it back through the threads all the way back to you. Date, time stamp, everything.
John.
But,
I'm sorry. John, I'm on the board of the newsletter. Maybe we can put a press docket on there and maybe even do an article on what Jason has done. This is fabulous. You're doing a marvelous job.
At least everybody stays informed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what's going on.
We can't let this go either, guys. That's the thing. We got to cut it to an hour, though, because we got a 2-year-old. I mean, it's a beautiful family here. But the idea is us coming together. Verona coming together. Let's talk about these and in ways that we can all have solutions instead of problems. Talking about one establishment, maybe the solution is going right to the top, right to the boss, the owners. Maybe they know, but maybe they've never been told about it. Do you guys understand? That's what I said. Beautiful?
I'm on Union Street. I'm really happy there are a couple other people in Union Street. Because for me, I think the problem is, I don't know who to call or who to talk to about some of the things that go on. And often something occurs and it doesn't feel like it's quite enough to call. I've got a problem neighbor, starts a lot of fires, has dogs that run around, has very vocal fights, but it doesn't quite rise to the level where I feel comfortable calling. So maybe I should, and if I know who else is interested and I can talk to somebody else, that would be a start.
Do you have an opportunity that maybe during daylight hours, if you feel uncomfortable, call it? Because you don't want a car pulling up in front of your house, you don't want anybody to know you. But maybe go down during the daylight hours, sitting down with the police chief and talking to him about your concerns.
Yeah, because
and that way you maybe get some remedies.
I have the same problem with the young kids running around. I don't have any problem going out there and saying, I'm asking you to stop with that language, or whatever. But I have older guys who during the night come and hang out on my deck and my porch, and I don't find out about it until the next morning. Or one time when my nephew.
Do you have motion lights on your porch?
No.
They're $20-some. I am no Bob Vila. Those of you know who Bob Vila was, he was a liar, but nevertheless he claimed to be this awesome building guy. It turned out he was a fraud. But with that being said, I am no Mr. Fix-It or handyman. But I installed my own motion lights. It was like black to black, white to white, brown, then I got zapped 3 times, but nevertheless, I was good to go.
Sam's has it with the, runs off with the sun.
They're brilliant.
I have one.
They're brilliant. The first time you put them up there would be the last time they start doing it. If they break the glass,
I put up a fence and that's made it hard for them to get in.
property owners, put no trespassing signs on your property. Anybody gets hurt on your property that you have no trespassing signs on that, they're a direct violation. It's called criminal trespass. Plus, it waives your liability for injury. They're trespassing.
Why do you have to put a sign on your property that has a fence on it?
I got 150 acres that I have posted with 145 posted signs, and I still got people riding quads even when I'm hunting. You'd be surprised of who knows who when I'm getting phone calls after I stop ID photograph, guy getting flipping out on me on my 150 acres. And he's flipping out on me, and I'm looking at him and just like, are you done? I said, I'm not here to try to push anything. I said, one guy goes, how do you know the law? I read, booked on farms. I didn't want to identify myself because it goes through a whole new other avenue. It got to the point where I had to. Well, then this guy knew everybody. And I ended up getting phone calls from everybody. Are you going to cite him? Are you going to arrest him? Are you going to do this? I said, I don't know. What would you do if it was on yours? What if he was right on your property, on your front lawn? And then he got this way with you? It's not right. But put the trespassing signs on.
Does it just count on your fence? Like, what if people are on your front that doesn't have a fence? Like your stairs?
You put a no trespassing sign on private property somewhere. It just covers you. It's more for big property. You can still do it on your little property too. This is the other reason why we go around talking about this. Now they get to meet each other. It's like a little kumbaya type thing. That's good. She's going to love the language too. It's awesome. It's going to be Australian. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it. Young lady.
I'm on Ridge Avenue, Susie Davis. I complain about the speeders because we live on a dead-end street. I walk nightly, and when I'm coming home and I'm walking on my street, I'm yelling at my neighbors and the one that we suspect are doing some illegal activity. And one day, one guy mouthed off to me, and I went in the house, and he flew up the street. I came out by time he came down flying. I was standing there. I know it was wrong, but I got my ball back. I said, you want to come back? Come on back. And he never came back, and the next time, I'd say it was 6 months before I saw him, he creeps up the street.
I'm not telling anybody to take her advice and go with it. But
You know, I was just so pissed because he had done it like 4 times that day. And you know, everybody yelled. I wasn't the only one yelling. We have 4 children on the street, not as many as we used to. But you know, I thought, I have grandchildren to come visit. my neighbor's child,
So it's Ridge, you said?
Ridge Avenue.
Ridge speeding.
I said, you know, it's unbelievable the speeding up there. And nothing against our police, but I don't see our police on our street. The only officer I see on our street is Officer Bill on the weekends when he's on. We can go months without seeing anybody up there. And the ones that are suspected of doing illegal runs, they know it. They know that nobody's coming up the street.
I worked in a one-horse town, and I'm telling you, it's so rough, guys. I'm down at the station with an arrest, and I'm sitting at the station with one in custody, and my radio goes off with an active domestic, and I got a call from mutual aid. Jefferson sent a unit over. I have one in custody. I have nowhere. I can't leave them. And it's tough, but as things are going to try to help a little bit more, and I think it's rough. The recruitment for this is down. 65. I'm a recruiter.
I spoke to the chief one time about lack of patrol on the street. He says, okay, and then he talked, and I did see a car come up. But it only lasted maybe a week. I don't think they remember that Ridge Avenue exists. They're like the post office. They said Ridge Avenue is not in Verona. Because I work with...
Well, you pay your taxes. That's what you want to turn around and say.
Because our argument is our newsletter does not deliver. It gets delivered to our street. I can't deliver it because the post office does not say that's Verona. So apparently, I guess our police don't feel that we're Verona either.
Well, somebody's here that may be able to have some little bit of influence, but I think your words to his ears and his lips to somebody else's ears is going to put a fire under somebody's doobah.
Because I said, I think if the cop car was up there on the street, maybe the people that I suspect of the illegal activity would be a little bit more cautious.
That's what I'll end up doing, is make them a little bit more cautious. It's not going to completely stop.
Right.
This is an economically sound, easy thing to fix.
I said, hopefully, you know, because they are a young family. It's a young family that's living in that house.
Right.
And they got a new baby coming. So hopefully, you know, the place is too small and they'll move on out and take their nasties away.
Right. People have to leave, I understand, guys. I apologize if I can't get to everybody. Sir?
Oh, I'm from my street. I've only been here since June, so I don't really have anything specific to say. But in regards to all the camera talk, I would recommend those. Like, I bought them at my last place that I lived at, and actually helped solve a couple crimes with them. And I have one at my house now.
Welcome to Verona, sir. Where'd you move here from?
West Ear.
West Ear, yeah, I know West Ear. It's quite vast. Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, and as far as like the cost and stuff, the brand of cameras I have is called Marax, and I actually got 4 cameras, the DVR and everything for like less than $400.
I saw the website actually this morning.
And they're really good.
I'm not being rude looking down. I was going to give you a camera that I recommend to, like, even when I do the threat assessments to the judges on. It's very inexpensive. Folks at this table here, please. Speeding and running stop signs?
But I have a question about personal property. Are you trespassing? We just got a letter a couple weeks ago saying we're responsible for our property and like half of it in the street. So if we put a no trespassing sign on our property, are we responsible for that part that we're supposed to be taking care of out in the street?
The street itself is borough property.
Yes, they told us that if they ever close the street down, half the street would be brought back to your property, so you're responsible for half of the street, you can go to whatever needs to be done. We will let them get a letter in the mail about it.
I'll talk to Mark Stanton, he's our building code enforcement officer. I'll talk about that.
Hey guys, like for cameras, you were talking about cameras. There's this camera system that we recommend, and we use these for investigation purposes too. They're called WiseCam, W-Y-Z-E, cam. The camera itself plugs right into any household outlet, and it actually can be set up through like your phone and different things. I think that's where they get you, is like downloading the app. But you can plug this into your front window. You can go on vacation, buy 2 of them, plug it inside, one for just look at the inside of the house, one for the outside of the house, one watch cameras for deliveries being dropped and stuff, for $19.99. And you own them. But again, I think on the back end, it's going to be actually downloading their app and paying for whatever else, the storage and so on, like our body cams. Our body cams stuff.
The super cheap ones, a lot of times they'll be streaming and that's free and included. But if you're wanting to like keep recordings, that's a different issue.
What about those wireless battery operated ones? Are those any good or are they,
So you get what you pay for. Gentleman in the back.
Yeah, we got more for down the block, yeah, I'm sorry.
Awesome. Sir, did you have an opportunity? Were you with the ladies here?
I know the ladies, but I live on North.
I'm sorry, okay.
All right, no problem. A lot of the problems have already been discussed. The shooting was like 4 times from my house, but I know recently there was an incident. I live behind me is the Duquesne Light substation. About a month ago, someone cut their way in and pulled some copper out of there. I don't know how they pulled all the copper without any of us, all of us neighbors not knowing about it, but they did. But that's what they found.
We had an incident, we were doing this at a plant, and nobody knew what was going on until they saw a large sparking and explosion. And when they got there, one kid was unconscious, the other kid didn't die.
Well, someone must have known what they
And he was
cut the
stripping.
right wires.
Gosh, stripping. Stripping.
Probably heroin addict.
I don't want to classify that as anybody individual. I just classify as somebody who didn't know what they were doing. It was not an intelligent thief. Not an intelligent thief. I mean, it's a shame the loss of life on anything. On anything. I speak to folks who are fighting addiction, and I listen to them too. And I understand some of the struggles and stuff like that. And, you know, going down to committing petty larceny and things like that. I know family members that live over in some of the big homes, we'll say on that you ask a family member what's it like, they're like, it's like living with a 400-pound gorilla. Every one of our bedrooms have deadbolt locks on them. All our valuables are locked up. You talk to them, they say we go to bed at night, we wake up the next morning, where we're going to get our money from the next business. And they're going to get it anywhere, going into cars that are unlocked, going onto porches, being porch pirates, stealing lawnmower, going and breaking into homes, and so on and so forth. This crime, this type of thing is going on everywhere. This type of stuff that we talked about here does happen everywhere. Speeding, the juvenile issues, the drug issues, the nuisance bar. It may be something that's it's above where I'm at with that stuff. I'm not a nuisance bar investigator, but there may already be a tracking that's going on from the establishment. I don't know legally inviting them in to have a talk. I don't know, that maybe somebody you've got to talk to your solicitor about, are we allowed to do that? Are we allowed to basically give them the old-fashioned knock and talk and just come on in? I don't know why, if I was the owner of the place, why I wouldn't want to come in and sit down and listen to you guys.
Maybe all weeks to get together and have them sit down.
That's all. That's right.
You go to the bar.
David knows che tu parli l'italiano cugino, può essere, ah? Back to like there's a cugino, it's called los nostro.
Tu famiglia ancora può essere fuori ore, tu sempre devi ritornare cose di
Buongiorno, cugino, come sta? Bene, grazie. Stampo, che tutto le stampo. I'm a little tired.
Bene, bene.
Folks, thank you so very much. On your way out, please grab yourself this. I'm going to leave some here. Tristan did a great job bringing this together, guys. See you here recording. Maybe as we go on, we'll put signs up across from the borders of Verona. And in Verona, we're going to say we are a crime watch community. We are together. We see it, we hear it, and we report it. Crime not allowed. Put like a word crime with a thing for it. Maybe people around here know sign makers.
Oh, we could get Banksy in.
Who?
Banksy.
No one knows who he is.
Oh my God, he's like a world-renowned artist. He leaves
How you doing, man?
The incidents like a shooting. Is that all? No, that's still on.